Once upon a time in a faraway land, there lived a poor slave. His master was a very cruel man and he made the slave work all day long. The poor slave was fed up with his master's ill treatment. So one day when he was sent to the market to buy some vegetables, he ran away. He was now a free man. He wandered into the forest, didn't know where to go. Suddenly, he heard a terrible roar. Roar! Startled, he turned around and saw a huge lion with one paw raised up in the air. The slave was very scared, but he slowly moved forward. As he got closer, he saw that the lion was in great pain. On its paw was a big thorn which had gone deep into its flesh. The slave thought for a moment. If he could pull the thorn out, the lion would be grateful to him. But how could he get so close to the angry animal without getting hurt? The slave knew that if the lion came charging at him, he would not be able to run fast enough to save himself. But he also knew that the lion couldn't charge at him while it was in so much pain. So he took a deep breath and slowly walked towards the beast. The lion roared again, but this time it was more of a warning than a fierce growl. The slave was now just a few steps away from the lion. He put his hand into his pocket and brought out a small knife. With a shaking hand, he slowly started to move the knife towards the thorn. The lion winced in pain. The slave bit his lip, trying not to scream. Finally, with a quick movement, he pulled the thorn out. The lion immediately felt much better. It shook its paw and looked at the slave. Then it let out a loud roar. The slave was scared, but he stood his ground. The lion took a step back and then another. Then it did something that the slave wasn't expecting. It lay down on the ground and closed its eyes. After a few minutes, the lion opened its eyes and got up. It took one last look at the slave and then went back into the woods. The slave waited until he could no longer hear the lion's footsteps. Then he too went into the forest and hid among the trees. He stayed there for 2 days, eating berries and nuts. On the third day, he was found by some woodcutters who were working nearby. They asked him what he was doing there and the slave told them everything. The woodcutters said they would help him hide from his master. But secretly, they were also going to tell the king about the runaway slave. As soon as the king heard about the runaway slave, he got very angry. He immediately sent some soldiers to find the slave and bring him back. They found the slave and tied his hands behind his back. Then they threw him into a nearby lion's den. The plan was to leave him in there for a few days without any food or water. This was supposed to be his punishment. The soldiers left, and the slave sat down on the ground. He was very scared, but after a while, he started to feel something he hadn't felt in a long time. It was a feeling of being watched. Suddenly, the same lion from the forest appeared at the entrance of the den. The slave screamed, but the lion didn't attack. Instead, it walked towards the slave and nuzzled against him. The lion licked the slave's face and let out a purr. The slave was very surprised. He had expected the lion to eat him, but instead it seemed to be friendly. Then the lion did something even more surprising. It got up on its hind legs and started to push open the door with its paws. When the door was open, it walked out. The slave followed the lion and saw that it had gone to the spot where the soldiers had left him. It started to push the door open with its nose. The slave understood what the lion was trying to do. He went inside and pushed the door open from the other side. Then he walked out and the lion followed him. Together, they walked out of the forest. The slave was now a free man and he owed his freedom to the kind lion. From that day on, the slave lived in the forest with the lion. They became best friends and the slave never forgot the lesson he had learned. A good deed is never forgotten. Be kind, and kindness will come back to you. That's all for today. See you next time.